Men are moved by two levers only: fear and self-interest. Napoleon Bonaparte. Most people believe that honesty is always the best policy. They assume that others operate with the same level of transparency and good faith. This naive assumption is a dangerous vulnerability in the complex game of social interaction. The truth is, everyone has an agenda, a hidden desire, a personal motive that colors their every action and word. To navigate the social landscape effectively, you must abandon the childish notion of universal honesty and embrace a more realistic, strategic perspective. We aren't teaching you to become deceptive. We're teaching you to see the deception that already exists, the subtle manipulations that shape your decisions and influence your life. Ignoring these hidden agendas is like playing chess without seeing half the pieces on the board. You're essentially handing over control of your destiny to those who are more aware, more cunning, and more willing to exploit your blind trust. We are here to pull back the curtain, to expose the intricate dance of power and persuasion that plays out in every conversation, every relationship, every social interaction. Forget the platitudes, forget the wishful thinking, and prepare to see the world as it truly is. A constant negotiation, a subtle battle for dominance, where awareness is your greatest weapon. Understanding the motives of others is not about being cynical. It's about being realistic, about protecting yourself from manipulation, and about making informed decisions that serve your best interests. The human mind is a labyrinth of desires, insecurities, and ambitions, each shaping the individual's actions in ways both conscious and unconscious. People rarely act without a reason, even if that reason is obscured by layers of rationalization and self-deception. To truly understand someone, you must delve beneath the surface, exploring the underlying drives that fuel their behavior. This isn't about mind reading or psychic abilities. It's about careful observation, pattern recognition, and a willingness to challenge your own assumptions. Consider the colleague who constantly praises your work, seemingly offering genuine support. While their words may be flattering, it's crucial to examine their potential motives. Are they seeking to ingratiate themselves with you in hopes of future favors? Are they subtly trying to undermine you by creating a sense of complacency? Or are they genuinely impressed by your abilities, with no ulterior motive whatsoever? The answer is rarely straightforward, and it often requires piecing together various clues, analyzing their past behavior, and understanding their position within the social hierarchy. Similarly, the friend who always offers unsolicited advice may not be motivated by genuine concern. They might be seeking to assert their dominance, to subtly remind you of their perceived superiority, or to simply alleviate their own insecurities by projecting them onto you. The key is to avoid making snap judgments and to instead adopt a detached, analytical perspective. Observe their actions over time, noting any inconsistencies or patterns that reveal their true intentions. Pay attention to their nonverbal cues, their body language, and their tone of voice, as these can often betray the emotions and motives they are trying to conceal. Remember that people are often masters of self-deception, convincing themselves that their actions are driven by noble intentions, even when they are primarily motivated by self-interest. This makes the task of decoding their motives even more challenging, requiring a deep understanding of human psychology and the various defense mechanisms that people employ to protect their egos. For example, someone who constantly boasts about their accomplishments may be trying to compensate for deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. Their bravado is merely a mask, a carefully constructed facade designed to hide their vulnerabilities from the world. Recognizing this allows you to see beyond their surface behavior and to understand the underlying insecurities that drive their actions. Moreover, power dynamics play a crucial role in shaping human motives. People often seek to gain power, to maintain power, or to avoid losing power, and these desires can influence their behavior in profound ways. Consider the politician who makes grand promises to the electorate. Their primary motive may not be to improve the lives of their constituents, but rather to secure votes and maintain their grip on power. Similarly, the CEO who implements unpopular policies may be prioritizing the interests of shareholders over the well-being of employees, driven by the need to increase profits and maintain their position at the top of the corporate ladder. Understanding these power dynamics allows you to see the world through a more critical lens, recognizing that even seemingly altruistic actions may be motivated by self-interest or a desire for control. The art of deception is also intricately linked to human motives. People often lie, manipulate, and deceive in order to achieve their goals, whether those goals are conscious or unconscious. Recognizing the signs of deception is therefore essential for navigating the social landscape effectively. Look for inconsistencies in their stories, evasiveness in their answers, and changes in their body language. Pay attention to their microexpressions, the fleeting facial expressions that reveal their true emotions, even when they are trying to conceal them. However, it's important to remember that deception is not always malicious. Sometimes, people lie to protect themselves or others from harm, or to avoid causing unnecessary conflict. The key is to understand the context of the situation and to assess the potential motives behind the deception. Ultimately, decoding human motives is a complex and ongoing process, requiring constant vigilance and a willingness to challenge your own assumptions. It's about developing a keen sense of observation, a deep understanding of human psychology, and a healthy dose of skepticism. By mastering this skill, you can gain a significant advantage in the game of social interaction, protecting yourself from manipulation, making informed decisions, and ultimately achieving your own goals. Remember, every interaction is a transaction, and understanding the other person's motives is the key to negotiating effectively and achieving a mutually beneficial outcome. Consider this scenario. A seemingly affable colleague, let's call him Mark, consistently praises your work in public meetings, highlighting your contributions to the team's success. He's always the first to offer congratulations on project milestones and seems genuinely supportive of your career aspirations. However, in private conversations, a subtle shift occurs. Mark subtly plants seeds of doubt about your abilities, questioning your judgment on key decisions, or hinting at potential shortcomings in your performance. He might casually mention that the boss has expressed concerns about your time management, or suggest that another team member is better suited for a leadership role you've been eyeing. These comments are carefully veiled as friendly advice or constructive criticism, making it difficult to directly challenge his intentions. The effect, however, is insidious. You begin to question your own capabilities, becoming more hesitant to take risks or assert your ideas. Your confidence erodes, and you find yourself second-guessing your decisions, constantly seeking Mark's approval, which he offers sparingly and strategically. This is a classic example of a two-faced individual employing a calculated strategy to undermine your position and advance their own agenda. Mark's public praise serves as a smokescreen, masking his true intentions and making it harder for others to perceive his manipulation. His private criticisms, while seemingly innocuous, are designed to chip away at your self-esteem and create a dependency on his validation. The underlying motive is clear: to diminish your perceived value within the team and position himself as the more capable and reliable candidate for advancement. This scenario highlights the importance of recognizing the discrepancy between public and private behavior. Pay close attention to individuals who consistently offer praise in public but deliver subtle criticisms behind closed doors. Look for patterns in their behavior, noting any inconsistencies in their words and actions. Consider the potential motives behind their actions. Are they genuinely trying to help you improve, or are they attempting to undermine your confidence and sabotage your career prospects? In such situations, it's crucial to maintain a strong sense of self-awareness and to trust your own instincts. Don't let their carefully crafted words cloud your judgment or erode your confidence. Seek feedback from trusted sources, mentors, or colleagues who can offer an objective perspective on your performance. Document any instances of manipulative behavior, noting the specific comments and the context in which they were made. This will provide you with concrete evidence to support your concerns if you need to address the issue with a manager or HR representative. Furthermore, it's important to establish clear boundaries with individuals like Mark. Limit your interactions with them, avoid sharing sensitive information, and be wary of their friendly advice. Focus on building strong relationships with other members of the team who are genuinely supportive of your success. By recognizing the signs of manipulation and taking proactive steps to protect yourself, you can navigate these treacherous social dynamics and prevent others from undermining your career aspirations. Remember, the social landscape is a battlefield, and you must be vigilant and strategic in your interactions to protect your own interests. In this game of social chess, awareness and preparation are your most potent weapons. Understanding that motivations are rarely pure and that even casual conversation can be a calculated move changes everything. It forces you to see the world and everyone in it, not as they present themselves, but as they truly are, complex beings driven by both overt and hidden desires. And understanding those desires is the key to controlling the board. The trap, the fatal error that the weak consistently make, is believing in the surface. They take words at face value, assuming sincerity where calculation lurks. They see a smile and interpret friendship, oblivious to the underlying motive that drives the interaction. This naivete is a vulnerability, an open door that allows the skilled manipulator to waltz in and rearrange the furniture of their mind. The weak fail to understand that language is often a mask, carefully crafted to conceal true intentions. They are swayed by charm, blinded by flattery, and easily led astray by promises that are never meant to be kept. This susceptibility stems from a deep-seated need for validation, a yearning to be liked and accepted. The manipulator exploits this need, offering a counterfeit version of approval that hooks the victim and renders them compliant. The weak also underestimate the power of emotional manipulation. They are easily triggered by guilt, fear, or shame, and the manipulator knows how to push these buttons to elicit the desired response. They use emotional appeals to bypass rational thought, clouding the victim's judgment and making them more susceptible to suggestion. Furthermore, the weak lack the awareness to recognize patterns of manipulative behavior. They dismiss isolated incidents as isolated incidents, failing to see the underlying strategy that connects them. They are slow to recognize the red flags, the subtle cues that indicate a hidden agenda. They rationalize away inconsistencies, ignore their gut instincts, and give the manipulator the benefit of the doubt time and time again. This pattern of denial allows the manipulation to escalate, slowly eroding the victim's sense of self-worth and control. Another crucial flaw is the inability to set boundaries. The weak are afraid of confrontation, of disappointing others, of being perceived as difficult. They allow others to encroach on their time, their energy, and their resources without pushing back. This lack of assertiveness creates a vacuum that the manipulator eagerly fills, exploiting the victim's willingness to please and taking advantage of their lack of resistance. They are afraid to say no, afraid to express their needs, afraid to assert their rights. This fear stems from a deep-seated insecurity, a belief that they are not worthy of respect or consideration. The manipulator preys on this insecurity, reinforcing the victim's self-doubt and further diminishing their capacity to resist. The weak also tend to internalize blame, taking responsibility for the manipulator's actions. They believe that they are somehow responsible for the other person's behavior, that they could have done something differently to prevent the manipulation from occurring. This self-blame is a powerful tool for the manipulator, as it allows them to deflect responsibility and maintain control over the situation. The weak also struggle with the concept of reciprocity. They believe that if they are kind and generous, others will reciprocate in kind. They fail to recognize that some people are simply takers, who are incapable of genuine empathy or consideration. The manipulator exploits this belief, extracting value from the victim without offering anything in return. They take and take without ever giving back, leaving the victim feeling drained and resentful. Ultimately, the trap is a self-inflicted wound, a consequence of weakness, naivete, and a lack of self-awareness. It is a failure to recognize the true nature of social interactions, to see them as a game of power and strategy, where deception is often the most potent weapon. To avoid this trap, you must cultivate a critical mindset, a healthy dose of skepticism, and an unwavering commitment to protecting your own interests. You must learn to see through the masks that people wear, to decode their hidden agendas, and to anticipate their next move. This requires a constant vigilance, a relentless pursuit of truth, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Remember, the world is a battlefield, and only the strong survive. To thrive in this arena, you must first accept the inherent amorality of social interaction. Forget the fairy tales of inherent goodness and universal justice. The world operates on a different set of principles, a code of conduct where power and influence are the ultimate currencies. This doesn't mean you must abandon your moral compass entirely, but it does require a degree of detachment, a willingness to observe and analyze human behavior without judgment, and to recognize that everyone, to some extent, is motivated by self-interest. The Machiavellian approach begins with this understanding. It is a pragmatic philosophy that prioritizes effectiveness over morality, results over intentions. It's about seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be, and acting accordingly. This requires a certain ruthlessness, a willingness to make difficult decisions, and to prioritize your own goals, even when it means causing discomfort or inconvenience to others. It is not about being malicious or cruel, but about being strategic and calculating, always thinking several steps ahead and anticipating the potential consequences of your actions. It involves cultivating a sense of detachment, an ability to observe and analyze situations without getting emotionally involved. This allows you to see things more clearly, to identify the underlying power dynamics, and to formulate effective strategies for achieving your objectives. Learn to view people as resources, as tools to be used, not as friends or allies. This may sound harsh, but it is a necessary mindset for navigating the complex social landscape. It is about recognizing that everyone has their own agenda, their own needs and desires, and that these agendas often conflict with your own. To succeed, you must be willing to exploit these conflicts, to leverage other people's weaknesses, and to manipulate them into serving your purposes. This does not mean you should be dishonest or deceitful, but it does mean you should be strategic in your communication, carefully crafting your words to achieve the desired effect. It means understanding the power of suggestion, the art of persuasion, and the importance of controlling the narrative. Always be aware of your own image, your own reputation. Cultivate an aura of power and competence, project confidence and authority. People are drawn to strength, and they are more likely to trust and respect someone who appears to be in control. Dress the part, speak with conviction, and never reveal your vulnerabilities. Maintain a degree of mystery, keep people guessing about your true intentions. This will make you appear more powerful and unpredictable, and it will make it more difficult for others to manipulate you. Master the art of deception. Learn to lie convincingly, to conceal your emotions, and to misdirect your opponents. Deception is a powerful tool, but it should be used sparingly and strategically. Too much deception can erode trust and damage your reputation. The key is to be subtle, to plant seeds of doubt, to create confusion and uncertainty. Learn to read people, to decipher their body language, their facial expressions, and their tone of voice. These subtle cues can reveal their true intentions, their fears and insecurities, and their vulnerabilities. This information is invaluable for crafting effective strategies and for manipulating people to your will. Understand the power of social proof. People are more likely to follow the crowd, to conform to social norms, and to believe what others believe. Use this to your advantage by creating the illusion of consensus, by rallying support for your ideas, and by making it appear as though everyone is on your side. Learn to control the flow of information. Information is power, and those who control the flow of information control the narrative. Be selective about what you reveal and be strategic about how you frame it. Use rumors and gossip to your advantage, spreading disinformation to undermine your opponents and to promote your own agenda. Master the art of flattery. People are susceptible to flattery, even when they know it is insincere. Use flattery to build rapport, to gain trust, and to manipulate people into doing what you want. Be specific and sincere in your compliments and avoid being too obvious or overbearing. Understand the power of fear. Fear is a powerful motivator and it can be used to control people's behavior. Use fear sparingly and only when necessary. Too much fear can backfire, leading to resentment and rebellion. The key is to create a sense of uncertainty and insecurity, to make people feel vulnerable and dependent on you. Exploit the weaknesses of others. Everyone has weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and insecurities. Identify these weaknesses and exploit them to your advantage. Use their fears, their desires, and their ambitions to manipulate them into serving your purposes. Be patient and persistent. The Machiavellian approach is not a quick fix, but a long-term strategy. It requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to adapt to changing circumstances. Be prepared to play the long game, to make sacrifices in the short term, and to wait for the opportune moment to strike. Never underestimate your opponents. Even the weakest opponent can pose a threat if underestimated. Be vigilant, stay informed, and always be prepared for the unexpected. Learn from your mistakes. The Machiavellian approach is a constant learning process. Be willing to experiment, to take risks, and to learn from your failures. Analyze your mistakes, identify what went wrong, and adjust your strategy accordingly. Remember that success in the social arena is not about being liked or admired, but about achieving your goals. It is about wielding power, exerting influence, and shaping the world to your will. It requires a degree of ruthlessness, a willingness to make difficult decisions, and an unwavering commitment to your own self-interest. History is filled with empires built on similar principles. Take the Roman Empire, for instance. Its rise to dominance wasn't solely about military might, but also about a shrewd understanding of human nature and a calculated approach to power. They understood that conquering territory was only the first step. Maintaining control required manipulating the conquered populations, playing different factions against each other, and instilling a sense of awe and fear in their subjects. The Roman emperors were masters of public image, carefully crafting narratives that portrayed them as benevolent rulers while simultaneously crushing any dissent with brutal efficiency. They understood the power of spectacle, using grand displays of wealth and power to impress and intimidate both their own citizens and foreign dignitaries. The gladiatorial games, for example, served not only as entertainment, but also as a powerful reminder of the emperor's authority and his ability to dispense life and death. This was a carefully constructed illusion of control, a performance designed to maintain order and prevent rebellion. The Roman emperors also understood the importance of rewarding loyalty and punishing disloyalty. Those who served the empire faithfully were showered with riches and honors, while those who challenged their authority were dealt with swiftly and mercilessly. This system of rewards and punishments created a powerful incentive for people to cooperate with the regime, even if they secretly resented it. This constant calculation, this delicate dance of power, was the engine that drove the Roman Empire for centuries. The empire wasn't built on brute force alone, but on a sophisticated understanding of human psychology and a willingness to exploit it to maintain control. Their engineers built roads, but their politicians built webs of influence. Their soldiers conquered lands, but their administrators conquered minds. This approach wasn't unique to the Romans. Throughout history, empires have risen and fallen based on their ability to manipulate and control their populations. The British Empire, for example, used a similar strategy to maintain control over its vast colonial holdings. They understood the importance of dividing and conquering, playing different ethnic and religious groups against each other to prevent them from uniting against the empire. They also used economic leverage to control their colonies, extracting resources and exploiting labor to enrich themselves. The key to their success was their ability to adapt their strategies to different contexts. They understood that what worked in one colony might not work in another, so they were constantly adjusting their tactics to maintain control. This adaptability, this willingness to learn from their mistakes, was essential to their long-term success. Like a skilled chess player, they anticipated their opponent's moves and countered them with precision. They understood the importance of patience, persistence, and a willingness to play the long game. War itself is often a masterclass in manipulating human motives. Sun Tzu, in The Art of War emphasizes knowing yourself and knowing your enemy. This isn't just about troop numbers and weapon strength. It's about understanding their motivations, their fears, their desires, and their weaknesses. A general who can accurately assess the psychology of his opponent has a significant advantage on the battlefield. Consider the Trojan horse. It wasn't a display of military might, but a brilliant manipulation of the Trojans' trust and curiosity. The Greeks understood that they couldn't win through brute force alone, so they devised a plan to exploit their enemy's psychology. By feigning retreat and leaving behind a seemingly harmless gift, they were able to trick the Trojans into bringing their own destruction inside their walls. This is a classic example of using deception to achieve a strategic advantage. Similarly, propaganda plays a crucial role in modern warfare. Governments use propaganda to shape public opinion, both at home and abroad. They create narratives that demonize the enemy, glorify their own cause, and rally support for the war effort. This isn't just about spreading misinformation. It's about manipulating people's emotions and beliefs to achieve a desired outcome. A successful propaganda campaign can sway public opinion, mobilize resources, and even demoralize the enemy. It's a powerful weapon in the arsenal of any warring nation. The concept of hearts and minds is also central to understanding the manipulation of motives in warfare. Winning the support of the local population is often crucial to achieving victory, especially in unconventional conflicts like guerrilla warfare. This requires understanding their needs, addressing their grievances, and building trust. It's not enough to simply defeat the enemy militarily. You must also win the support of the people. This often involves providing aid, protecting civilians, and respecting local customs. The goal is to convince the population that you are on their side, that you are fighting for their interests, and that you offer a better future than the enemy. This is a difficult and complex task, but it is often essential to achieving long-term success. These historical examples, from empires to war, are proof that understanding and manipulating human motivation is a fundamental strategy. It's a game played on a grand scale, with nations and armies as the pieces. The rules are complex, the stakes are high, and the consequences can be devastating. But the core principles remain the same. Know yourself, know your enemy, and be willing to use any means necessary to achieve your goals. Human beings are not rational creatures. Logic takes a backseat to emotion far more often than we care to admit. Understanding the landscape of human motivation begins with acknowledging this fundamental truth. We are driven by a complex interplay of needs, desires, fears, and aspirations, often operating beneath the surface of conscious awareness. These underlying forces shape our behavior, influence our decisions, and ultimately determine our actions. To truly decode human motives, you have to go beyond the surface and delve into the subconscious drivers that propel us forward. You have to understand the narratives we tell ourselves, the stories that define our identities, and the values that guide our choices. Consider Maslow's hierarchy of needs. While often simplified, it provides a useful framework for understanding the fundamental drivers of human behavior. At the base of the pyramid are physiological needs: food, water, shelter, and sleep. These are the most basic and pressing needs, and they must be met before any other needs can be considered. Once these needs are satisfied, we move on to safety needs: security, stability, and protection from harm. We seek to create a safe and predictable environment for ourselves and our loved ones. Next comes the need for love and belonging, connection, intimacy, and acceptance. We crave social interaction, meaningful relationships, and a sense of belonging to a group. After love and belonging comes esteem needs, recognition, respect, and achievement. We strive to feel competent, confident, and valued by others. Finally, at the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, the realization of our full potential, the pursuit of meaning and purpose. We seek to grow, learn, and contribute to something larger than ourselves. While the hierarchy is not rigid, it provides a helpful map for understanding the different levels of human motivation. However, Maslow's hierarchy is only a starting point. Human motivation is far more complex than a simple pyramid. We are also driven by a range of psychological needs, such as the need for autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy refers to our need to feel in control of our own lives, to make our own choices, and to act independently. Competence refers to our need to feel capable and effective, to master new skills, and to achieve our goals. Relatedness refers to our need to feel connected to others, to build meaningful relationships, and to experience a sense of belonging. These psychological needs are just as important as our basic physiological needs, and they play a crucial role in shaping our behavior and influencing our decisions. Furthermore, understanding human motivation requires recognizing the power of cognitive biases. We are all prone to cognitive biases, systematic errors in thinking that can distort our perception of reality and influence our judgments. For example, the confirmation bias leads us to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs, while ignoring information that contradicts them. The availability heuristic leads us to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled, while underestimating the likelihood of events that are less memorable. The anchoring bias leads us to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, even if it is irrelevant or misleading. These cognitive biases can significantly impact our decisions and actions, and they can be exploited by those who seek to manipulate us. Therefore, to master social chess, you must become a student of human nature. You must learn to recognize the underlying needs, desires, and fears that drive human behavior. You must understand the power of emotions, the influence of cognitive biases, and the dynamics of social interaction. This requires careful observation, active listening, and a willingness to challenge your own assumptions. It means paying attention to both verbal and nonverbal cues, reading between the lines, and looking for inconsistencies in people's stories. It also means developing a deep understanding of your own motivations and biases, so that you can avoid being manipulated by others. In essence, it is about developing a keen awareness of the invisible forces that shape human interaction and guide the game of social chess. Only then can you begin to anticipate your opponent's moves, control the narrative, and ultimately achieve your desired outcome. This is the path to mastering not just social interaction, but also self-awareness and strategic foresight in all areas of life. Let's consider a scenario. Imagine you're in a negotiation for a promotion. Your boss, seemingly supportive, expresses concerns about your readiness for the added responsibilities, subtly highlighting areas where you supposedly lack experience. He emphasizes the need for you to prove yourself further before considering the promotion. At face value, this appears to be constructive feedback, a standard performance review. However, dig deeper. He might be subtly employing a tactic to lower your expectations and, consequently, your salary demands. By planting seeds of doubt about your capabilities, he anchors you to a lower perceived value. Furthermore, he could be playing on your innate desire for approval, knowing that you'll likely strive to meet his perceived expectations, even if those expectations are strategically inflated or entirely fabricated. This creates a power dynamic where he maintains control over the narrative, dictating the terms of your advancement. The underlying motive isn't necessarily a reflection of your actual performance, but rather a calculated maneuver to optimize the company's financial outcome at your expense. He might casually mention that other colleagues are also vying for the same position, subtly introducing a sense of competition and scarcity. This taps into your fear of missing out and increases your willingness to compromise. Perhaps he mentions a star performer in another department who possesses superior skills in a specific area, subtly implying that you are not yet on par. This plays on your insecurities and makes you question your own value proposition. The key is to recognize these subtle cues, the underlying emotional levers he is attempting to manipulate. Don't take his feedback at face value. Dissect it. Question the validity of his concerns. Is there concrete evidence to support his claims, or is he simply constructing a narrative to serve his own purpose? Consider alternative interpretations of his behavior. Could he be intentionally trying to undermine your confidence? Is he attempting to create a sense of urgency that isn't actually warranted? By challenging his assumptions and refusing to accept his framing of the situation, you regain control of the negotiation. Counteract his tactics by proactively highlighting your accomplishments and quantifiable results. Don't just state your achievements, frame them in a way that directly addresses his stated concerns. For instance, if he suggests you lack experience in a particular area, showcase a recent project where you successfully navigated a similar challenge. Use data and metrics to demonstrate the impact of your contributions. By presenting a compelling case that directly contradicts his narrative, you weaken his position and force him to reassess your value. Furthermore, establish your own anchor. Clearly articulate your expectations for the promotion, including your desired salary range and responsibilities. Don't be afraid to negotiate assertively, knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. Frame the conversation not as a plea for advancement, but as a mutually beneficial agreement where your skills and expertise will contribute significantly to the company's success. By taking control of the narrative and proactively shaping the conversation, you shift the power dynamic in your favor and increase your chances of achieving a favorable outcome. This is more than just negotiation. It's a strategic application of awareness, foresight, and calculated action. Beyond the surface-level negotiation, consider the potential long-term consequences. Your boss's behavior might indicate a deeper pattern of manipulation within the company culture. Perhaps he consistently employs similar tactics with other employees, creating a toxic environment of competition and mistrust. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for your own professional well-being. It allows you to make informed decisions about your future with the company. Do you want to continue working in an environment where manipulation is the norm? Or would you be better off seeking opportunities elsewhere, where your contributions are valued and your worth is recognized? This broader perspective allows you to make strategic decisions that align with your long-term goals and values. It's not just about winning a single negotiation. It's about creating a sustainable and fulfilling career path. This scenario illustrates the complexity of social chess. It highlights the importance of being aware of the hidden agendas and power dynamics that shape human interaction. It demonstrates the need to look beyond the surface level and understand the underlying motives that drive people's behavior. It emphasizes the importance of proactively shaping the narrative and refusing to be manipulated by others. This requires a combination of analytical skills, emotional intelligence, and strategic thinking. It demands a willingness to challenge your own assumptions and see the world from multiple perspectives. It necessitates a deep understanding of human psychology and the subtle cues that reveal people's true intentions. Only by mastering these skills can you truly navigate the complexities of social chess and achieve your desired outcome, not just in negotiations, but in all aspects of your life. The art of deception is not merely about lying. It's about creating a carefully constructed reality that serves a specific purpose. Understanding this allows one to not only detect manipulation, but also to proactively defend against it and strategically influence the environment in one's favor, ethically, of course. Furthermore, the long-term impact of consistently recognizing and countering manipulative tactics goes beyond immediate gains. It cultivates a resilient mindset, strengthens one's sense of self-worth, and empowers one to navigate social interactions with greater confidence and authenticity. This is not simply about winning individual battles. It's about building a framework for sustainable success and well-being in all areas of life. The ability to discern the true intentions of others, to anticipate their moves, and to strategically position oneself in any social dynamic becomes an invaluable asset, providing a significant advantage in achieving personal and professional goals. The vigilance developed in recognizing manipulative techniques also serves as a constant reminder to maintain ethical integrity in one's own interactions, fostering genuine relationships built on trust and mutual respect. This brings us to another key point: self-awareness. One cannot effectively detect manipulation in others without first understanding their own vulnerabilities and biases. What are your triggers? What are your deepest fears and desires? What are the values that you hold most dear? These are the levers that others can potentially use to manipulate you. By understanding your own weaknesses, you can better protect yourself from being exploited. Furthermore, self-awareness allows you to recognize when you are being emotionally reactive, rather than strategically responsive. When emotions run high, it becomes more difficult to think clearly and make rational decisions. This is precisely when manipulators are most likely to strike. By cultivating emotional intelligence, you can learn to manage your emotions effectively and respond to challenging situations with composure and clarity. This will enable you to see through the smoke and mirrors and make choices that are aligned with your long-term interests. Finally, remember that mastering social chess is a continuous journey, not a destination. There will always be new challenges to overcome and new tactics to learn. The key is to remain vigilant, to continue to hone your skills, and to never stop learning about the complexities of human nature. Embrace the challenge, relish the game, and strive to become a master of social chess. This is not just about winning, it's about becoming a more insightful, strategic, and resilient individual. It is about unlocking your full potential and creating a life that is both fulfilling and successful. The power to control your narrative, to influence your environment, and to achieve your desired outcomes lies within your grasp. Embrace it, cultivate it, and use it wisely. The game is always on, and the opportunities are endless. The truly skilled player understands that social interactions are not just about achieving immediate goals. They are about building lasting influence. This requires a keen understanding of human psychology, a mastery of communication techniques, and a willingness to play the long game. Think of each interaction as an investment, a chance to strengthen relationships, build trust, and establish yourself as a person of integrity and influence. By consistently demonstrating these qualities, you will attract like-minded individuals and create a network of support that will help you achieve your goals. Moreover, remember that the most effective form of influence is not coercion or manipulation, but inspiration. When you can inspire others to believe in your vision and to work towards a common goal, you unlock a level of power that is far greater than any individual could achieve alone. This requires a deep understanding of human motivation, the ability to articulate your vision in a compelling way, and the willingness to empower others to take ownership of the shared goal. It also demands genuine empathy and a willingness to listen to the perspectives of others. By creating a collaborative environment where everyone feels valued and respected, you can unlock the collective intelligence of the group and achieve results that would have been impossible otherwise. Furthermore, remember that the best defense is often a good offense. This does not mean that you should be aggressive or confrontational, but it does mean that you should be proactive in shaping the narrative and controlling the frame. Instead of waiting for others to define you or your ideas, take the initiative to present your own perspective in a clear, confident, and compelling manner. This will allow you to set the terms of the conversation and to guide the discussion in a direction that is favorable to your interests. It also means being prepared to challenge assumptions, to question authority, and to push back against narratives that are not aligned with your values. This requires courage, conviction, and a willingness to stand up for what you believe in, even when it is unpopular. However, it is important to do so with grace and diplomacy, avoiding personal attacks and focusing on the merits of the argument. By presenting your ideas in a thoughtful and respectful manner, you can persuade others to see things from your point of view, even if they initially disagree. Remember, the goal is not to win an argument, but to influence the outcome. To truly master the art of social chess, you must also become a student of human behavior. This means observing people closely, paying attention to their words, their actions, and their body language. Look for patterns, identify common motivations, and try to understand the underlying psychology that drives their behavior. By developing a deep understanding of human nature, you can anticipate people's reactions, predict their moves, and develop strategies to influence their decisions. This also means being aware of your own biases and assumptions. Everyone has blind spots, and these can often lead to misinterpretations and mistakes. By recognizing your own limitations, you can become more objective in your assessments and more effective in your interactions. Moreover, be willing to learn from your mistakes. No one is perfect, and everyone makes errors in judgment from time to time. The key is to analyze what went wrong, to identify the root causes of the error, and to develop strategies to avoid making the same mistake in the future. By embracing failure as a learning opportunity, you can continuously improve your skills and become a more effective social player. Finally, never underestimate the power of emotional intelligence. This is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. It is a critical skill for navigating complex social situations and building strong relationships. By developing your emotional intelligence, you can become more empathetic, more compassionate, and more effective in your communication. You will be able to read people's emotions more accurately, to respond to their needs more effectively, and to build rapport more easily. This will allow you to connect with people on a deeper level, to build trust, and to inspire loyalty. It will also help you to resolve conflicts more effectively and to avoid misunderstandings. Remember, emotions are contagious, and your own emotional state can have a significant impact on the people around you. By cultivating a positive